Welcome to Catalyst Study 2. It is a part 3 of our video of class 10 chapter 1 science. Before watching this video, make sure you have watched part 1 and part 2 so we can get into the class. Here the topic we are going to study is about the type of chemical reactions. In the previous videos we have studied how we can understand the occurrence of a chemical reaction, what are the symptoms or signs of occurrence of a chemical reaction, and then how we can balance a chemical reaction and what is the need of balancing a chemical reaction. Everything we have studied. Now we are going to study what are the type of chemical reactions. Okay, there are really different kind of chemical reactions are there. One of the first one we are going to study about combination reaction. And you can see there is an activity 1.4 is there. Okay, take a small amount of calcium oxide or quicklime in a beaker. Always remember, calcium oxide has the common name quicklime in fact. Okay, calcium oxide, quicklime in fact. And put some of this calcium oxide into a beaker and then slowly add some water to this. Okay. So what we are doing, we are taking some calcium oxide quicklime in a beaker and we are adding some water into it. Okay, and now they are telling us to slowly touch the bottom. Okay, touch the bottom of the beaker. Do you feel any change in temperature? Absolutely, we can see there is an increase in temperature. Okay, and since there is an evolution of temperature, we can see there must be a chemical reaction has happened. And what is that chemical reaction? Okay, it is given there when quicklime is react with water, it will convert to slaked lime. Okay, you can see CaO plus H2O gives CaOH twice. So you have to study those things. CaO, calcium oxide, is known as quicklime, and when it is mixed with water, it is converted to slaked lime or calcium hydroxide, and this process is called slaking of lime. Okay, what is that name? Yeah, it is slaking of lime. Okay, and you can see in that particular chemical reaction, in the reactant side, you can see two things. 2 water is there and calcium oxide is there, and at the product side you can see only one substance. Okay, that is only slaked lime or calcium hydroxide in fact. And these kind of reactions in which more than one reactants combine to form only one product, it is called combination reaction. So what is combination reaction? A combination reaction is a chemical reaction in which more than one reactants are combined to form a single product. Okay, and during the activity it is given that there is a hike in temperature, there is an increase in temperature. Okay, and whenever there is a liberation of temperature, or energy in a chemical reaction, such kind of chemical reactions are called exothermic reactions. There are many combination reactions are there which are exothermic in nature. Exo means outside. Thermic means something related to energy. So whenever in a chemical reaction, if the energy is given out, it is called exothermic reaction. And there is a practical application for the above activity or above reaction. So in the earlier times, for whitewash, we used to use these calcium oxide or quicklime in fact. Okay. And these quicklime, when mixed with water, it is converted to slaked lime, and this slaked lime is used for whitewash purpose. Okay, whitewashing, whitening of walls in fact of buildings. Okay, and after 1 or 2 days you can see a very shiny appearance because this calcium hydroxide react with carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere to form calcium carbonate, and with the liberation of water, and this calcium carbonate gives a very shiny appearance to the wall. Okay, And you can see some more examples of combination reactions. The first one. So what is the explanation, or what is the definition of combination reaction? Yeah, when there is more than one reactants react chemically to form a single product, it is called combination reaction. And we can see more examples, like first of all, burning of coal. Yeah, you can see when coal is burned in oxygen, in the reactant side you can see two things, carbon and oxygen, and it gives out only a single product, that is carbon dioxide. And look at the second example, hydrogen and oxygen combines to form water. Okay, more than one, in fact two reactants are there and only a single product is there. Okay. Yes, I have told you during that particular activity, we could find out that there is an evolution of temperature in that when calcium oxide is mixed with water, and such kind of things are called exothermic reaction. And you can see furthermore examples of exothermic reaction. Yeah, it is a burning of natural gas. When natural gas is burned, okay, what is natural gas? Natural gas is methane. Okay, methane is termed as natural gas. Marsh gas, shale gas, okay, gobar gas, whatever it is methane. And when methane is burned, in oxygen, okay, we can see the products are carbon dioxide, water with a large amount of heat. Okay, and that particular heat we are using for cooking kind of or domestic kind of purposes. Okay. And one more thing is there, okay, the digestion. Okay, digestion. During the process of digestion, what is happening? Yeah, glucose. Okay, you might have you will study about the process of digestion in life processes in the first chapter of biology, same year, same textbook. Okay, so what is happening? Whatever the food products is finally getting converted to, yeah, majority of the carbohydrates are finally getting converted to glucose. Okay, and when these glucose get into the cells, okay, the cytoplasm, then into mitochondria. Okay, so what is happening? This glucose is decomposed. The glucose is decomposed to produce carbon dioxide and water with the liberation of energy. Yeah, and this energy we are using to do a lot of activities, a lot of daily life activities. So what is happening? The food we eat, which contains carbohydrate, yeah, which is during the process of digestion, it is getting converted to glucose. And this glucose, when fed into the cells, the glucose is decomposed to form carbon dioxide, water, along with the liberation of energy. And this carbon dioxide is released during the process of respiration. Okay. Then one more thing is there, the decomposition of vegetable matter into compost. You know how compost is formed. Okay, compost is actually a decay process of vegetables, right? Okay, in the during that decay process also energy is given out, energy or the heat is given out. So the decomposition of vegetable is also an exothermic reaction. Okay. Now the second kind of chemical reaction, chemical reaction. So in the first kind of chemical reaction, we have seen more than one reactant are getting converted to a single product. And here it is exact opposite of composition reaction, the decomposition reaction. Okay, what it might be? One product, one reactant is decomposed to form more than one products. One reactant is decomposed to form more than one products. It is the exact opposite of combination reaction. You can see the example. When ferrous sulfate is heated. Okay, when ferrous sulfate is heated, you can see actually ferrous sulfate is greenish in color, I think, green color. And when it is heated, it forms ferric oxide, it's brown in color, with the liberation of a gas having a very pungent odor or pungent smell. Okay, and what is happening during that process? Okay, we can check out the activity first. Take about 2 grams of ferrous sulfate crystals in a dry boiling tube. What you have to do? Yeah, you can see there is a small A girl kid is there. She is holding a test tube which contains ferrous sulfate. Okay, always remember while doing this activity, okay, hold the test tube in a position such that the gases, okay, will not getting into your nose. Okay, it's a pretty dangerous chemical which is coming out with a very pungent odor. So always hold the test tube like this. Always hold the test tube like this. Okay, and prevent the gas from entering your nose. Yeah, then note the color of the ferrous sulfate crystals. It is green in color. Heat the boiling tube over the flame of a burner or spirit lamp as shown in figure 1.4. Okay, yeah. Observe the color of the crystal after heating. After heating, the color of the crystal changed to somewhat a brownish red. What happened there? What happened there? Okay, and you can see the corresponding chemical equation. Ferrous sulfate decomposed. Ferrous sulfate decomposed to form ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide, and sulfur trioxide. Means there is only a single reactant. Only a single reactant is there, and which is getting converted to 3 products. Okay, more than 1 products are coming out of a single reactant, and these kind of chemical reactions are called decomposition reactions. Okay, and during the heating you can see a lot of water vapor present on the walls of the test tube. Okay, it is because actually ferrous sulfate is a hydrated salt having the formula FeSO4.7H2O, and that H2O is called the water for crystallization. You will study later. Water for crystallization means, and for a chemical compound to be to present in a particular color in a crystal form, so the help of some water molecules present in the atmosphere is required, and that water molecules are called water for crystallization. Water for crystallization. So for FeSO4 to become a greenish crystalline solid, it requires the help of 7 water molecules from the atmosphere. So it is termed as FeSO4.7H2O. So when it is heated, first of all, you can see a lot of water vapor is coming out. A lot of water vapor is coming out. Then only you can see the color change. Then you can see the color change with the liberation of pungent gas, and those gases are SO2 and SO3, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. And again, one more thing is a very, very common example. Okay, the heating of limestone. Heating of limestone. When limestone is heated, every one of you know what is limestone. Limestone is in fact calcium carbonate. Whether it is limestone, whether it is coral, whether it is chalk, whether it is marble, okay, it has the same chemical formula. It is CaCO3. Okay, it's a salt in fact. And when we are heating limestone, when we heat the limestone, the carbon dioxide present in the limestone, okay, carbon dioxide present in the limestone will be liberated out. Okay, will be liberated out, and what will remain? Only calcium oxide will remain. So when we heat calcium carbonate or limestone, what will we get? Yeah, we will get quick lime or calcium oxide. Okay, you can split the reaction. Okay, calcium, yeah, CaCO3 can be split like this, CaCOO, right? So when CO2 went out, what will remain? Yeah, CaO would be remaining, and that is our product. Okay, we can, after the chemical reaction, we can only see white powder, that is calcium oxide. And since carbon dioxide is a colorless gas, it is already escaped in the atmosphere, so we cannot see the liberation of carbon dioxide. So these are the examples of these are some examples of decomposition reaction which takes place on heating. Okay, so always remember, during combination reactions, when the reaction is happening, energy is given out. But for the occurrence of decomposition reaction, we need to supply energy. Okay, so in combination reaction, energy is given out. In decomposition reaction, we need to supply energy, or the energy is taken in. And these kind of chemical reactions are called endothermic reactions. Chemical reactions in which energy is taken in are called endothermic reactions. So, decomposition reactions are usually endothermic in nature. Decomposition reactions are usually endothermic in nature. Yeah, now we can see one more example of decomposition reaction. Take about 2 grams of lead nitrate. Take 2 grams of lead nitrate powder in a boiling tube. Hold the boiling tube with a pair of tongs and heat it over flame as shown in figure 1.5. What do you observe? Note the change. And when we heat this lead nitrate, okay, actually it is white in color. And when we heat this lead nitrate, you can see brown fumes are coming out. Okay, brown fumes are coming out of this test tube. And these brown fumes are none other than this nitrogen oxide. Okay, the fumes are nitrogen oxide gas. Okay, so when we are heating lead nitrate Pb NO3 2 times. Okay, when we heat that particular compound, and what is happening here? Yeah, this is the thing we are. Okay, what is happening? You can see lead nitrate when heated. Okay, only a single reactant is there. Okay, it's heated. It is decomposed to form lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and oxygen. It is an example of a decomposition reaction, or in fact a decomposition reaction taking place after supplying heat. Okay, with the help of heat, with the help of temperature or heat energy, this is happening. And all these examples, whether it is the decomposition of ferrous sulfate, whether it is the decomposition of calcium carbonate, or it is the decomposition of lead nitrate, in all these cases, you can see the decomposition agent is heat. The decomposition agent is heat, and the decomposition in the decomposition reactions in which the decomposing agent, okay, the agent which is helping in decomposition, if it is heat, it is called thermal decomposition. It is called thermal decomposition. You can see here in this example, the agent is heat. Okay, look at the other examples. Again, it is heat. Yeah, one more. Yeah, you can see it is heat. So whenever the helping agent is heat, or for decomposition reaction, if the energy is taken in the form of heat, it is called thermal decomposition. Okay, now check out the next activity, activity 1.7. You can see there is a mug, or in fact, okay, mug, and which is fixed with two graphite electrodes. In fact, okay, you can see two graphite electrodes are there. Okay, and the two electrodes are connected to a 6-volt battery, and two inverted test tubes are there. Okay, and these two graphite rods are covered with two test tubes. Okay, fine. Yeah, look at the activity. Take a plastic mug. Yeah, take a plastic mug, drill 2 holes at its base and fit rubber stoppers in these holes in order to avoid leakage of water. Insert carbon electrodes, it is graphite, in these rubber stoppers as shown in figure 1.6. You can see the figure, okay, as like this. Connect these electrodes to a 6-volt battery. Yeah, you can see the battery. Fill the mug with water such that the electrodes are immersed. Add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid to the water. I will tell you what is the use of that sulfuric acid, or why we need to add some sulfuric acid. Okay. Take 2 test tubes filled with water and invert them over the 2 carbon electrodes. Switch the current and leave the apparatus undisturbed for some time. You will observe the formation of bubbles at both the electrodes. These bubbles displace water in the test tube. Is the volume of the gas collected the same on both the test tubes? Once the test tubes are filled with the respective gases, remove them carefully. Test these gases one by one by bringing a burning candle close to the mouth of the test tube. Caution, this step must be performed carefully by the teacher. I am here, don't worry. What happens in each case? Which gas is present in each test tube? It's a very, very simple experiment, but you need to, yeah, take care of yourself while doing these kind of activities. Okay. So what is happening there is, after the passage of electricity for some time, we can see some bubbles are forming. You can see the appearance of bubbles in each of the test tubes, and the gases displaces water. You can see, yeah, water is on the top of it. Okay, top of the test tube, which is displacing the water in the mug. And what is happening is, we know water is made up of two elements, that is H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. And when electricity passes through water, water splits into hydrogen and oxygen gases. In one test tube you can see hydrogen, in the other test tube you can see oxygen, and the amount of hydrogen would be double as compared to the amount of oxygen. So the amount of both the gas in test tube, or the gases in both test tube are not the same. The amount of gas in one test tube is actually two times the amount of gas in the other. Okay, you can see in the test tube this much area is filled with gas. You can see this much area is filled with a gas, okay, hydrogen in fact, and only half of that particular area is filled with oxygen. So again, you can see the corresponding equation there. You can see the corresponding equation. It is not given there. Okay, I will write you the equation. I will write the equation for you. It is, okay, check out the equation. 2H2O gives 2H2 plus O2. In the yeah, the reagent is, in fact, it is electricity. Okay, so after decomposition, okay, it is very clear it's a decomposition reaction, because only one reactant was there. It is converted to more than one products. Okay, and you can see 1 mole of oxygen and 2 moles of hydrogen. That's why the amount of hydrogen in the test tube is higher compared to the amount of oxygen. Okay, and when decomposition reaction takes place with the help of electricity, it is called electrolysis or electrolysis chemical reaction. And you can see one more thing is there, the last type of decomposition reaction. Okay, and what is given there? Okay, check out the activity 1.8. Take about 2 grams of silver chloride in a china dish. What do you have to do? Yeah, take 2 grams of silver chloride in a china dish. What is its color? Yeah, it is white in color. Okay, silver chloride is white in color. Place this china dish in sunlight for some time. Okay, what we need to do? Yeah, we need to place this china dish containing silver chloride under sunlight. Observe the color of the silver chloride after some time. Yeah, after some time, the white color silver chloride is converted to a gray colored silver powder. And what is happening there? Silver chloride, you know what the formula of silver chloride is? AgCl. Silver chloride under sunlight decomposed to form chlorine gas and silver metal. Okay, chlorine gas and silver metal. Okay, so it's the same reaction is happening for silver bromide also, AgBr. Okay, the question would be 2AgBr under sunlight. Okay, under sunlight, what is happening? Yeah, it will be converting to 2Ag plus Br2, 2Ag plus Br2. And here the agent which is helping decomposition is light. So it is called photo decomposition. It is called photo decomposition. So we have studied 4 types of decomposition reaction, 4 types of decomposition reactions. Which are they? Yeah, first one it is thermal decomposition, where the agent is heat. Second one, electrolysis. In fact, we have seen only 3 kind of reaction. Okay, 3 kind of decomposition reaction. First one is thermal decomposition, where the agent is heat, and second one the agent is electricity, and third one the agent is light. Okay, it is thermal decomposition, and next one electrolysis or electrolysis, or third one photo decomposition. So that's the end of our part 3 of this particular chapter. So we can I will meet you with the next part. Okay, up to then, bye guys.